Supporters want PNP to bat for disabled. Gary Rowe, a member of the People's National Party, PNP, from Northeast Manchester's executive group, lost his right foot 6 months ago, but he was determined to be physically present for the party's 85th annual conference. Rowe, like other amputees, journeyed from miles across the island to join with the hundreds of comrades who gathered at the National Arena in Kingston on Sunday. They did so because they confidently believe that the leaders they choose from the PNP will better assist them with care than any other political party in Jamaica. Rowe, whose foot was cut off in March due to diabetes, was also a former candidate for the Craighead division. "I had to be here despite the disability that I have now. I lost, but I'm still on the ground. Me new gone new way. Media same way," Rowe told IRI News Media TV. This conference is significant because it is the People's National Party's 85th annual conference. 85 years. We are the view that the ground is swelling for the People's National Party at this time, and we have to come out and show our numbers to show that Mark Golding will become the next Prime Minister of Jamaica in shortest order. All 14 players. Coincidentally, Rowe was entering the National Arena on a queue along with two other individuals on crutches. They were husbands. He was also from Manchester, James, and time come for a change. For James, he will keep one-legged journey to the arena because he believes that time come for a change. PNP's new tagline is, "We need a change of government. Time hard." James briefly shared the news. Another amputee, Patrick Roden, who was not admitted inside the National Arena because it was filled to capacity when he arrived. Who is providing care, living with special needs, and back to the special needs community from experience. We need some more accessibility for persons with disability in the country. We will want someone who anchor us with disability, and the greatest thing in my advocate for right now, Roden told IRI News Media TV. When PNP within the power can set some plan for persons with disability, wheelchair ramps and the light post can move out of the sidewalk and give you wheelchair access. And all of these things, when we realize that PNP come out of power, everything just stops. So we want to see if it really be PNP that could get it wrong. Oh, I know nobody did a thing that could not go wrong. So we have a problem right there, he said. Another amputee and wheelchair-bound mother, Natasha Grant, told the Greenwood of the PNP representative who supports a promise for prosthetic legs, which would cost her $1.4 million. She believes that they will soon follow through on their promise. We come here by support of Grant told IRI News Media TV that she wheeled into the National Arena by her side. Central St. Mary, a PNP president, and they replaced them. Dr. Morris replaced them. She said, in reference to the long-standing, outgoing PNP MP for the constituency, she told the Greenwood that she has been promised by Logan Cousins of Southwestern Canada that she would get help in receiving the prosthetic legs that she needs. Editorial: Avoid highway apartheid. As Prime Minister Andrew Holness said, good roads, such as the 23-kilometer addition of the tolled east-west corridor of Highway 2000 that was opened last week, are important to the country's economic growth and development. Good infrastructure enables trade, drives businesses, connects workers to their jobs, and creates opportunities, Mr. Holness said at the opening of the news segment of the highway. Without good infrastructure, it is difficult to attract investment and create jobs. Indeed, the new stretch of highway and associated works, built at a cost of $188 million in mostly Chinese loans, will, on the face of it, enhance travel along Jamaica's southern coast and improve connection between the island's southern and central parishes. But as this newspaper has suggested before, even as the government continues the build-out of the island's road infrastructure, these developments should incorporate a deeper discussion of a national transportation policy, as well as the pricing of travel on the tolled highways. With respect to the latter issue, rates on the Jamaica North-South Highway, owned by the Chinese state-owned firm China Harbor Engineering, CHEC, is of a special interest. Before the opening of the 66-kilometer North-South Highway, the major route between Jamaica's two critical economic regions, Kingston, the political and industrial capital, in the south, and the tourism and key bauxite mining areas in the north, was a narrow, winding road along a landslide-prone gorge, and across a temperamental river, spanned by a centuries-old low-stone bridge that was impassable at the river's first spate. It is not only the stress of the travel between the two regions that has lessened, but also the time. The old 2-hour journey between Kingston and the North Shore town of Ocho Rios is now down to 45 minutes via the highway. Raised questions. However, the recent increase in tolls on the North-South Highway has again raised questions about its pricing policy, and whether the road is delivering on its potential in spurring economic activity between the two regions. Additionally, the opening of the new Maypan, Clarendon to Williamsfield, Manchester leg of the east-west road has also caused questions, though less shrill, about the likely affordability of using that road. Which is why a full and frank discussion on the efficacy of the toll roads, taking into account the interests and legal obligations of all parties, should take place. This would be useful in the context of an overarching, development-guided transportation/infrastructure policy and plan. As a private company, Jamaica North-South Highway does not make public its financial statement or operating information. It therefore cannot be readily determined if traffic on the highway is in keeping with the company's projections and its income in line with its estimates when CHEC invested an estimated $700 million in building the road. Neither is it clear whether, given America's increasing efforts to dissuade Latin American and Caribbean countries from deepening relations with China, if it remains committed to investing in hotels and communities along the highway's route, on lands pledged by the Jamaica government, so as to help stimulate traffic on the road and improve the viability of the investment. What is, however, known, based on data published by the National Road Operating and Constructing Company, the government company that promotes highway developments, is that in the 2019-20 financial year, 4.417 million people used the North-South Highway, an average of 12,100 per day. Traffic on the North-South Highway was approximately 16% that of the publicly listed Trans-Jamaica's East-West route, which runs through or is adjacent to several of the island's most heavily populated communities, including Portmore, just west of Kingston. Major deterrent. While demographics clearly limit traffic on the North-South route, several critics argue that the high cost of using the road is a major deterrent. The recent hikes increased the toll, excluding motorcycles, between 13 and 24%. A regular motor car, Class 1, driving the full 66 kilometers of the highway now pays $2,320, or $4,640 return, a hike of 22%. For a SUV 1.7 meters high, the cost, one way, is $4,465, up to 24%. In other words, driving to Ocho Rios and back costs $8,930. These are not the kind of costs that are easily affordable to most Jamaicans. Toll rates are based on expected rates of return, but adjustments are determined annually, in accordance with a clearly defined formula that is linked to movements in Jamaica's Consumer Price Index, the value of the Jamaican dollar against its U.S. counterpart, and the company's debt. If the government, through its toll regulator, decides against awarding increases applied for that fall within the formula, it is obligated under the agreements to compensate the companies. This newspaper believes in the sanctity of contracts and the law. However, Jamaica has nearly 2 decades experience with modern toll roads, 7 years with respect to the North-South Highway, and should therefore be in a position to determine what has worked and what may be in need of adjustment. Though loudest there, it is not with respect to the North-South segment the affordability question arises. The challenge for the government is to make the highways work for all Jamaicans,